Breaking news at 5 o'clock, Grammy-nominated music producer Tay Keith has died. Right now, Metro Police are investigating how he died.
They say the family called police for a welfare check at his apartment this afternoon. He's best known for co-producing for Travis Scott, Drake, Eminem. In December of 2018, he earned his bachelor's degree from MTSU. He was nominated for Best Rap Song for his work on Travis Scott's Sicko Mode at the 61st Annual Grammy Awards. Tay Keith was just 29 years old.
A Thursday afternoon, June 18th, 2026, Nashville, Tennessee. It's a normal day. People are going about their business. And then, somewhere on Martin Street, police officers with the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department pull up to an apartment building to perform a welfare check. We don't know yet who made that call. We don't know what they were worried about, or what prompted someone to reach out to the police in the first place. What we do know is what those officers found when they got inside. Tay Keith Chambers, 29 years old, unresponsive. The Metro Nashville PD released a statement almost immediately, and it was short, brutally short. It said, "No foul play is suspected in the death of Tay Chambers, 29, also known as Grammy-nominated record producer Tay Keith. He was found dead in his Martin St. app this afternoon by officers performing a welfare check. His death is unclassified pending autopsy results." Unclassified. Pending autopsy. That's it. That's all they gave us. And if you don't know who Tay Keith is, let me stop right here and explain, because this is not just the story of one man's death. This is the story of one of the most important architects of modern hip-hop. A kid who grew up with nothing in South Memphis and built one of the most recognizable sounds in music history. And he was gone at 29, with no official explanation and questions that still haven't been answered. This is the story of Tay Keith. Before we go any further, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We cover cases like this one, where the music, the person, and the mystery all collide. And we are going to be coming back to this story as more information comes out. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the follow-up when we have more answers. Now, let's go back to the beginning. Because to understand what the world lost on June 18th, 2026, you need to understand who Tay Keith actually was. Tay Keith Chambers was born on September 20th, 1996, in South Memphis, Tennessee. And I want you to really picture what that means. South Memphis. Section 8 housing. His mom was a single parent for much of his childhood. He had free lunch and food stamps growing up. Government assistance. He spoke about this openly, in his own words. He said, "I was raised in Section 8. I was raised with a single mom majority of my life. I have been put out. I've been in situations where we had to get government assistance. I had free lunch and food stamps my whole life. I had to overcome a lot of adversity growing up. But there was one constant. Music." His stepfather introduced him to the Memphis rap tradition early. Artists like 3 6 Mafia, 8 Ball, and MJG. The heavy, dark, hypnotic sound that Memphis had been producing for decades. And young Tay didn't just listen to it. He absorbed it, studied it, took it apart in his head, and started to figure out how it worked. By the time he was 14 years old, he was already making beats. He had a piano, a computer, and enough drive to start posting his music on YouTube and on DatPiff, which, if you were around the hip-hop internet in the early 2010s, you know was the place for mixtapes and underground music. He was even remaking popular songs just to train his ear, including a version of Lil Wayne's Lollipop that he put together entirely by himself. He was not playing around. This was serious. Even at 14, this kid knew exactly what he wanted to do with his life. And then something happened that changed everything. Around that same time, a young rapper moved into the neighborhood, specifically to the Raleigh area of North Memphis. His name was Block Boy JB. And the way Block Boy has told the story is that he was just walking down the street one day, and he saw a shed open, and he heard music coming from inside. He stopped. He listened. And he walked in. That chance encounter between two teenagers in Memphis launched one of the most important creative partnerships in modern hip-hop. They started making music together almost immediately. And they grinded. I mean, they really grinded. Building a grassroots following, putting out tracks, developing a sound. In 2015, Tay Keith got his first real placement when he produced the single Lil Bitch for Memphis rapper Black Youngsta's mixtape. Black Youngsta saw the talent immediately. He even released a song later literally called I Discovered Tay Keith. That tells you everything about how early people around him recognized what this kid had. But it wasn't until 2017 going into 2018 that things really started moving. Drake had seen a snippet of a Blockboy JB record on Instagram. He posted it. Blockboy JB slid into his DMs. And before long, Drake was on the record. The song was called Look Alive. Released in January 2018, Look Alive by Blockboy JB featuring Drake shot to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. 5 times platinum. And it put Tay Keith's name on the radar of every major artist and label in the industry. He was 21 years old. But here is the thing about 2018. That was just the start of the year. Drake came back and wanted Tay Keith on what would become the Scorpion album. The result was Non-Stop, which peaked at number 2 on the Hot 100. 2. In the same year. Then Travis Scott called. Travis was putting together Astroworld, and Tay Keith was brought in to co-produce a record that would become the song of a generation. I'm talking about Sicko Mode. You know this song. Everyone knows this song. It hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It earned Tay Keith his first Grammy nomination for Best Rap Song. It was one of the defining records of the decade. And then Eminem tapped Tay Keith for Not Alike on the surprise album Kamikaze. Lil Baby and Ganas Never Recover featuring Drake. Hit after hit after hit. All in the same calendar year. All from the same 21-year-old kid from South Memphis who had been posting beats online just a few years earlier. Oh, and also, the same month Sicko Mode hit number 1. Tay Keith graduated from Middle Tennessee State University with his bachelor's degree. Let that land. Number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. College graduate. Same month. At 21. If you're finding this story as remarkable as I do me a favor and hit the like button. It genuinely helps more people find this video, and this is a story that deserves to be heard. Now let's keep going. After 2018, most people would have coasted. You would have been forgiven for coasting. But Tay Keith was not built that way. He kept working. In 2019, Beyoncé released her Homecoming live album, the recording from her legendary Coachella performance. And there was Tay Keith, co-producing Before I Let Go, the bonus track that became an anthem. He had a credit on a Beyoncé album at 22 years old. Think about the range that represents. Drake, Travis Scott, Eminem, Beyoncé. That is not a one-trick producer. That is an artist who understood music across the board. He kept building with Drake through some of the biggest moments of Drake's career. Jimmy Cooks, Family Matters, First Person Shooter, featuring J. Cole in 2023, which hit number 1, and even Push-Ups, Drake's diss record during the height of the Kendrick Lamar beef. When the stakes were the highest, Drake called Tay Keith. And then there was Sexy Red. When the St. Louis rapper started breaking through in 2023, Tay Keith was the producer behind the records that made it happen. Pound Town. Ski. He went on to executive produce her 2024 album Sexy We Trust. He had a gift not just for making hits, but for making careers. His most recent credits before his death included Jack Harlow's Just Us, featuring Doja Cat, Travis Scott's 4x4, and tracks from Megan Thee Stallion's 2024 album. By the time of his death, Tay Keith had accumulated 11 top 10 hits on the Billboard Hot 104 number 1 records. He holds the record for the most number 1s on the Billboard Hot R&B/hip-hop songs chart this decade, 6 of them. And in 2025, Forbes named him to their 30 Under 30 music list. Every single person who worked with him described the same man. Quiet, humble, low-key, studio-focused, not chasing fame, not performing for cameras, just working. Because here's the side of Tay Keith that the charts don't show you. This man was giving back. Genuinely, consistently, deliberately giving back. He partnered with the city of Memphis on youth programs. He worked with local organizations to get resources to children in underserved communities, the same kinds of communities he grew up in. One Christmas, he partnered with the National Museum of African American Music to provide young people with gifts and food, held a seminar, and gave them free museum admission. He stood in front of those kids and told them directly, "This is where I come from too. Music was my outlet. It can be yours." He mentored young producers. When people reached out to him for advice, he actually responded. Joey from Gotham Hip Hop, in his tribute after Tay Keith's death, said he was one of the first big artists to reach out to me and show love for no reason. Just a genuinely nice guy. A producer called Bamboy described him as his first big brother in the industry, someone who invested in him the way he wished someone had invested in him. Beverly Keel, the dean of MTSU's College of Media and Entertainment, who watched him graduate and then watched his career go supernova, described him as people smart. She said he understood how people would act and react, that he had tremendous vision about the industry, music, culture, and people, that he had overcome real adversity and turned it into fuel. That was who Tay Keith was. Not a machine, not just a name on a production credit. A person, a son, a friend, a mentor, a man who remembered where he came from and reached back for the people still there. Which brings us back to Martin Street. June 18th, 2026. Even though we now know who he was, we still do not fully know what happened to him. The welfare check, the officers arriving, the unresponsive body of a 29-year-old man who was, by every account, at the height of his career and his life. The three-sentence statement from the MNPD that left about 100 questions unanswered. Let's be precise about what we know and what we don't. What we know, Tay Keith was found dead in his Nashville apartment on the afternoon of June 18th, 2026. Officers were performing a welfare check when they found him. The police have said no foul play is currently suspected. His death has been officially classified as unclassified, pending autopsy results from the medical examiner's office. What we don't know: who made the welfare check call and why? What specifically prompted someone to be concerned enough to call the police? What did the scene look like when officers arrived? Were there any signs of illness or distress in the days or weeks before his death? What did his final hours look like? And what is going to come back from the medical examiner? Here is something important to understand about the word unclassified. When law enforcement uses that term, it means they genuinely do not yet have enough information to categorize the death. It does not mean natural causes. It does not confirm an accident. It does not rule out foul play, even though they've said they're not currently suspecting it. Unclassified is essentially a placeholder. It means we're waiting on the science. And what they're waiting on is the autopsy and the toxicology. Toxicology reports, which test for drugs, alcohol, prescription medications, and other substances, typically take anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks to come back. Until those results land, the full picture of what happened inside that apartment on Martin Street simply does not exist in the public record. That is exactly where this case stands right now. And while those questions hang in the air, the people who love Tay Keith are grieving. Block Boy JB, his childhood friend, the rapper he met as a teenager on those Memphis streets, the person he had known for more than half his life, shared a throwback photo of the two of them and wrote, "Damn, 'cause you just hurt me bad." And then, in a separate post that honestly hit hard, he said something that puts the whole loss into a different kind of perspective. He wrote, "We talked every day you'd tell me you was leaving. Every single day. They spoke every single day, right up until the end." Drake posted a tribute. Travis Scott mourned publicly. AJ Tracy, the UK rapper, called Tay Keith a legend of the game and said it wasn't an overstatement to say he had a major impact on his own career. NLE Choppa, Key Glock, Sexy Red, Tyler, the Creator, the tributes came pouring in from across the industry and across the world. The Chambers family released a formal statement. It read, "It is with profound sorrow that we confirm the passing of Brytavious Tay Keith Chambers. Brytavious was a visionary producer, songwriter, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and cultural force whose work helped define the sound of a generation. From Memphis to the global stage, he shaped countless hit records and left a lasting mark on music and culture. A visionary, a philanthropist, a cultural force. At 29 years old, in Memphis, they understand that great music outlives the people who make it. The blues is still here. Soul is still here. 3-6 Mafia is still here. And Tay Keith's music is still here. Every time Sicko Mode shakes a speaker. Every time Look Alive comes on in a car. Every time First Person Shooter hits and that beat rolls in. People are going to hear it. But we still do not have answers. And that matters. Hip-hop has buried too many of its own too young. The community knows this kind of grief too well. It knows what it means to lose a 29-year-old and not fully understand why. It knows what it means to ask questions and get silence back. So we are going to keep asking. The autopsy results are pending. The toxicology is pending. Law enforcement has not publicly explained who called for the welfare check or what specifically prompted it. There are details about Tay Keith's final hours that we simply have not been told yet, and may not be told for weeks or months. What we can do right now is document what we know, honor who he was, and commit to coming back when there is more to say. Britavius Lakeith Chambers, born September 20th, 1996, in South Memphis, Tennessee, found unresponsive on June 18th, 2026, in his Nashville apartment. Grammy-nominated producer, cultural architect, the man behind the sound of a generation. 29 years old. The moment the medical examiner releases their findings, the moment there are any official updates on the cause of death, the moment law enforcement says anything more about what happened on Martin Street, I will be back with a full follow-up video. This story is not finished, and we owe it to Tay Keith and to everyone who loved his music to keep following it until we have real answers. If you want to be here for that follow-up, subscribe right now and turn on the notification bell. And if this video helped you understand who Tay Keith was and what the world lost when that welfare check was called, hit the like button before you go. It genuinely helps this reach more people who deserve to know his story. Rest in power, Tay Keith. The tag will ring out forever.